Welcome back. You're watching 9 News. Moving on to Asian news. Hong Kong had 3 days of official mourning for the 38 victims in the Lama ship collision, which began on last Thursday. Hong Kong Chief Executive C.Y. Leung led government officials in a memorial service, with schools and other public officers also observing a 3-minute silence. Leung expressed his sympathy for the victims' families and declared 3 days of mourning, which began on last Thursday. Many local residents also joined the tributes by dressing in black and paused to watch live television coverage of the memorials outside major shopping centres to reflect on the accidents. The Lama Island boat collision was the worst maritime accident in Hong Kong for over 40 years, leaving 38 dead. Investigation into the cause is still to be continued. A serious landslide hit a village in southwest China's Yunnan province. At least 18 primary school students and a villager were confirmed dead. The natural disaster occurred in the Zhenghe village in the mountainous southwestern province of Yunnan. 18 students and a villager were killed when the landslide buried a primary school and 3 farmhouses. Authorities attached great importance to this accident, deploying rescue and relief arrangements immediately. 50 soldiers were dispatched into rescue work. The landslide followed several days of rain, which blocked a nearby river, creating a lake and forcing the evacuation of more than 800 residents living downstream. Frank Hsieh, a former head of Taiwan's opposition Democratic Progressive Party, began his 5-day visit trip to China on last Thursday. Mr. Hsieh, the party's 2008 presidential candidate, is the highest-level opposition politician to visit China. Although he is not scheduled to meet top officials, his trip is viewed as an icebreaker for both sides. Mr. Hsieh first arrived at Xiamen Airport and visited Dongshan Island, the home of his ancestors. He is then scheduled to see the Olympic Stadium in Beijing. Before leaving Taiwan, Mr. Hsieh said his trip to China is aimed at building mutual trust. Although he insisted his visit was not set as a political trip, he expressed his consideration of softening his party's China policy. According to BBC's analysis, while some Taiwanese believe increasing understanding between the two sides is beneficial, others fear it could eventually lead to a change in DPP policy and the end of Taiwan's independence movements. Now moving on to sports news. Nissan has created a competition that compares the world's fastest man, Usain Bolt, with the supercar, the Nissan GT-R.
Actually, it's an advertising campaign that compares the competition between the two, in which the world's fastest man and the supercar have lots in common. They improve every year to continue beating their real opponents, and so in fact have no competition at all. The ad show Bolt's achievements in 2008 and 2012 Olympics, while the GT-R also shows its record lap times at Nürburgring and numerous international awards. Nissan has used Bolt since June, and as part of the package, Bolt will visit Nissan and Japan for the first time next week, where Nissan will host whom they call the most naturally gifted athlete the world has ever seen.
Former Tottenham Hotspur boss Harry Redknapp, resting at home without a job, is targeting a role in America with the New York Red Bulls.
Harry Redknapp is believed to be in discussion with the Red Bulls, though their current coach, Hans Back, is in the final year of his contract. The arrival of new general manager Jerome de Bontaine at the club is the man who will decide if Back is to stay or not. There is no official confirmation as to what the situation is, but in 2010, Tottenham had a game with the Red Bulls, and Redknapp praised the American team.
Canterbury Bulldogs prop James Graham has received a record 12-match ban for biting Melbourne Storm's hero Bill Slater on the ear.
Graham was stunned when the ban was handed down, as he has proclaimed his innocence throughout. The panel of former players took no more than 10 minutes to find him guilty, when the television footage seemed to show exactly that. The incident happened in the grand final when the two teams got into some pushing and shoving, though clearly Graham was all fired up, particularly as they were losing at the time.
Now moving on to Happy Diner, introducing and reviewing favourite restaurants in Auckland.
Mushrooms are rich in protein and contains a variety of essential elements that are important for humans. Today we are going to introduce you to a dish that has mushroom cooked in two ways, beautifully presented on the dish as a sunflower. First, the prawns are chopped finely into a paste, and then after it has been marinated, it is stuffed into the fresh mushrooms. Then they are pan-fried on both sides until the prawn is golden and the mushroom chop is slightly browned. Then the mushrooms are cooked again, covered in salted egg yolk. The first dish that we are introducing today is the sunflower turned mushrooms. This name is actually closely related to the theme of this dish. By looking at this dish, you can immediately tell it's a sunflower, with two types of mushrooms presented nicely on the dish. The chef uses fresh mushroom to make this dish, and now let's see what it tastes like. I first thought this is meat, but it's actually prawns. It tastes very fresh and sweet. Also, along with the juicy mushroom, the combination of texture is indescribable. The mushrooms are also drizzled with sweet and sour sauce. The overall combination is perfect.
The mushrooms we use are very fresh, and because the weather in New Zealand is very good and has no pollution, the mushrooms grown here are very clean and healthy.
Apart from the mushroom dish, there's also a range of Cantonese dim sum and desserts that you can choose from.
We are the first restaurant in Auckland that makes durian cream. They are lip-smacking delicious. Lots of local Kiwis come here just to buy these.